Welcome back this morning. We are turning our attention right now to Stone Academy. The school offered licensed practical nursing programs with campuses in East Hartford, Waterbury, and West Haven. It abruptly shut down on February 15th, leaving students and faculty with a lot of questions about how to move forward and what to do next. The state's Office of Higher Education is now very involved in the case. Timothy Larson is the executive director, and he is joining us here in the studio this morning. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you for having me.
I know on Thursday you announced with the Attorney General that there was now an investigation. What is happening with that?
So, we're very supportive, and frankly, we have been working with the Attorney General's office since probably last October, because Stone Academy was going through what would be their renewal process. And part of the renewal process, we discovered that there were some pretty significant violations that the school was involved with, and we brought them to what's called a compliance conference, where that school would be able to come in and refute any of these allegations and these violations, or put forward some type of a plan that would allow them to continue. And the violations were really the tipping point of this whole piece was what was determined by the Department of Public Health, Helen Smith. She found that over 20% of the faculty were unqualified to teach, and that several of the appropriate clinical hours were actually done on campus, not in a nursing facility. So it caused great alarm. And we had gone back and forth with them. We demanded that they pay for an audit, and originally they agreed to do that.
You had been communicating with the owner?
Yes.
Because it's a
yes.
for-profit.
That's correct. That's correct. And with the owner and their attorney and members of their staff, they came on to this conference hearing, and back and forth dialogue, etc. And then they determined that they sent us a letter, I believe it was on January 6th, that they were going to close. So we've been working diligently to try to collect those records. Last Tuesday, we collected over 75 boxes with individual records. We need to get to the bottom of these student transcripts so that we can guarantee when these students transfer to a different school or want their money back, they have the right information in front of them and they're entitled to it. The Attorney General has now gotten involved and is looking to penalties that may be, civil in nature, but I believe everything will be on the table. I'm not an attorney, I can't speak for him, but they're well aware that this is a very, very significant problem and that we need to get it ferreted out rather quickly. So our office, again, is looking to cull out these files. We're going to electronically scan them, hand them over to an auditor so we can have a fresh look at what credits are appropriate, what documents are available for the financial resources that will be available to these students. And the options are few. One will be to take your transcript and move to another school here in Connecticut, and we have 3, Lincoln Tech, Porter and Chester, and Griffin Hospital. They currently have LPN programs. If they decide to get a refund on their tuition, we'll walk them through that process. And then there'll be a handful of people that will be stranded, and we're going to have to figure out what the opportunities are for those people. But Stone Academy needs to be held accountable for all of this nonsense. And there's going to be some significant financial penalties that will be handed out to these folks. They need to make these students whole. Think about if you're a student and you're a month away from graduating, and now you're told that the coursework you took was from a faculty member that was not qualified, or the clinical hours that you put in are not valid. So the program's 1,500 hours in general terms. 750 in the classroom, 750 clinical. It sort of breaks up that way. The cost of this program is $30,000.
And roughly 800 students?
Yes, yes, at 3 campuses in East Hartford, West Haven, and Waterbury. So we have collected those files. We're in the process of culling that information out, and we're going to get that synthesized down so that these students will have a transcript ready to go.
Because we have had so many of these students, on the news for the past few weeks. They want answers. They want to know what's next. You're obviously talking with a lot of them, as well as faculty members too, right? Exactly.
And so next week at our office at 450 Columbus Boulevard, we're putting on a fair. We're going to ask these students to come in. We've been in touch with all of these students electronically with an email. And we've asked them to register for this fair, and we're going to bring students in, 50 at a clip, in 3 different pods throughout the day. We're going to have these 3 schools there. We're going to have the U.S. Department of Education there. We're going to have the community college system there and workforce there. We're actually also going to have the National Guard, so that there'll be options for people. Most people want to transfer and finish, and we want them to. This is a vital need for the state of Connecticut.
There isn't, I mean, nursing, as we learned during COVID, these are critical roles these people
Absolutely.
play, these individuals.
And the nursing industry has been heroic throughout the pandemic and should be commended for this. And this LPN program is a stepping stone into an RN and into the healthcare industry. And so it's important that we do what we can to finish these students out. But they have to have the transcripts that support it. And we owe it to them. They've been tragically damaged. You know, if you believe that you've been going to an appropriate clinical activity and that's no longer, there's no way you're going to be able to pass that national exam. We want to make sure that you have the clinical activity and that you're prepared to take that test. And so we're going to sort of do a first in, first out. We will have an understanding of those folks who are closest to graduation with realistic transcripts and clinical hours, and we'll interview them through the 3 remaining schools that we have. They'll take them in and then try to process them through, and then we'll try to build what we can to continue to add onto that cohort.
We don't have a lot of time left, but I do want to ask you, does this have you looking now at maybe other schools? I know you said that you learned about this in your regular review and uncovered a lot of information then. Does it have you kind of evaluating other things in other facilities?
So what's interesting about this particular industry, our office has oversight of all of the occupational schools in Connecticut. All of them pay a percentage of their income to a student protection account. So we have a student protection account that is on balance. When it relates to any sort of nursing curriculum, we work hand in glove with the Department of Public Health, because the nursing board will be the individuals who actually issue the license for these students when they graduate. So we're working with them. And on this occasion, you know, we have Porter and Chester that we'll be evaluating soon. And we just learned that Quinnebog Valley Community College is also in the state system, is actually trying to start up an LPN program in Eastern Connecticut.
Well, we certainly know a lot is going to be happening. We appreciate you being here with us this morning. We're out of time right now, but Tim Larson, thank you again
Mark.
for updating us with the latest. Of course, we'll be following it here on Eyewitness News. That is CT23 for this week. Eric is back here next Sunday, and I'll see you this week here on Eyewitness News.